105, and that's it. Snowyka is gone.
The big thing about the Zappers is all the audio they cause as well right around you when they're on. You're never sure if a second one is coming up as well. You're not sure exactly how much pressure is going to give it to you from what... Oh no! Oh,
please. God. It's okay.
Big thing about retail, too, it is trios. You need everyone's help to kind of get a revive or even a reboot off. I don't think these guys have the luxury of that, the DS trio right now. They kind of have to do this in a dual format. The easiest way, I think, right now, what they could do at the moment is elevate themselves just one level, have the down player go up that ramp, and then hit that revive. But metal walls as well, very sturdy. Hopefully there's no obelisk around them. These guys can easily hit that revive. A little bit of misclicks. We'll tune in on another side of the map for a big fight going on in the grasslands.
Just north of the Old Skull here. Little Exxon, he gets dropped there. It's the little homies. They're trying to get themselves more points if possible. Lav does find himself a drop there. That is the first elimination from the enemy team, so a great point to start the game. Stinkers here are going to try and flush this player out. He gets picked up. That is Little Daddy. Little Daddy will be confirmed. I believe that is only one person that is left.
Yup, you can see the actual precision now and the speed of these fights starting and finishing and the decision making. There's no hesitation. It's game 6. You know your exact place of where you're at. You know what you need to do. And this is basically the last moment in actually executing that. So this mid-game fight, you can see, didn't change too many layers horizontally or vertically. Everyone knew exactly when they're on defense. You don't want to delay too much because you need those mats later on in the game. Usually when you're the last person alive in your trio, you like to, waste mats a bit. You don't want the person who's, eliminating you at the end of the game to not to have as many options to gain off of you. But right now, people are playing very, very close to the chest. You'll see right here in this fight, I guarantee it won't go way too high. It won't go around. It's very easy clinches over in just a matter of seconds because people know exactly what's happening and they're planning for the future as well.
And especially when they're on such low effective HP, right? Like, you cannot just say, hey, I'm going to try and 1v1 this person if I have, like, my other two duo partners up. Like, no. You want to minimize the potential risk of, like, random factors, right? That RNG factor we talk about. Being able to minimize that as small as possible to being non-existent is the best possible thing you can do. But check it out. The current leaders, Fahad, NM7, and Youngs, they're in Gotham City. They're trying to prove they are the knight, that everyone swears to them. 83 points. Like that was pretty good. Well, I can say that now because Batman's in the game. How crazy is that? Anyway, though, I want to see how they navigate this because we saw them in retail last time. They did get beamed. Fahad did right out the start from the Meteor. And so now they opted to say, look, you know what? We're ahead. Let's change things up. Let's just try and see if we can contest someone else. And for them, that's Gotham.
Yeah, the big thing here as well is that there's only a few select trios in the region that have experience being in the lead and performing and having the experience of actually being winners of weeks and performing at a top spot under a different type of pressure, which is expected performance. So it's a lot different from when you're trying to prove yourself versus holding that top spot and kind of flexing up there to, maybe you want to generate some highlights, maybe you want to experiment and kind of see what else you guys can do later on in job spots within the region. But it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys play and what type of pressure they actually have on their shoulders compared to the rest of the region in their lobby.
Yeah, you can already tell they're feeling that pressure, right? Because they didn't even want to contest this team. They were in Gotham, and it might just be because that POI is maybe new, or they're just not exactly kitted out right now. But look, I mean, Dapper's on this weird amalgamation of builds. And don't forget, in Gotham, you do have that redeploy that shows up in the form of the Batman cape. As long as you have that, you can basically redeploy without having the item. So Dapper right now, look at his kit as opposed on the other side, right? 3 shockwaves. He's got the infantry rifle in that blue rarity, a blue pump, and a blue silenced SMG. These guys are ready to tangle, and Power's like, look, you know what? We want to secure this. This is not our fight. Let's just get out of here. If we want to make sure we can cement our lead, we just have to find somewhere else to go. They even have the launch pad if things go like the worst possible that they can launch pad themselves out, but right now, they have the biggest target on their back.
Yeah, but it's in the name, too. Power is always power in numbers as well. They want to make sure their trio is kept alive. They want to make sure they're going to be right beside each other, moving about. You'll see NM7 utilizing Fahad's builds while they're on defensive mode. You'll see a lot of trios, though, knowing it's the last game. They have their own game plans, their own chess boards, right? Even though these guys are all pieces on the same map, how are they going to be reacting to trios around them? So right now, it's all about getting elevated. It's all about getting out of the bad positions, going into positions where you can get information. Power's kind of in a hiatus period, seeing how they want to actually play out this game. What does it mean to have the last game as the basically automatic winners of the region if no one else can catch up?
Yeah, and I mean, they could very easily say, like, we're so far ahead. Let's just, whatever happens, happens. But that's not That's not what they want to do, right? They want to make sure that they are showing everyone why they are the ones at the top. Now, they still have this long rotation, right? They're going to take some damage to the Storm, and that's going to be really, really rough. One of them is staying behind to pick up mushrooms along the way. They even have the shockwaves as well that they potentially could have used, but like that just draws so much attention. The moment you hear a shockwave, you're just like, all right, where are they? I hear you, you're close by. And if they're mid-air still, you can get tags while they're in the air and potentially be knocked, which would be brutal.
Yep, it's layers of pressure everywhere as well as movement. We touched on it a bit last game. When you're moving in on your lane, you're getting into other lanes of trios and the pressure they're creating. Now the pressure is different in your mind as well because you have that leaderboard to think about and the money involved and the prestige of the grand final. So how people rotate and the type of confidence they have while moving is going to be so entirely different compared to the other games we played in these heats, games 1 to 5. 6 is where, yeah, even if you're very, very confident coming in, winning 4 fights, you might not be flocking your feathers, right? Because you want to be staying secured and having a safe end game. So there's a whole new layer in this last game that we're going to be seeing utilized from all these trios, whether they're still in first, whether they're popping off in the early and mid game. We'll see how their storylines want to develop in themselves and the identity they want to, push on the rest of the server.
And it's interesting you say that because like the thing makes me think back to what you said yesterday about being like an entity, right? Like when these trios are moving around the map, think about it like the way Shai said is they are one entity, they are one being. There's 3 people, but they operate as one. So right now, if you're power, you're either operating as one and everyone's on the same page and you're all making the same decisions, or this pressure might be getting to them and they're acting as 3 separate entities, right? So maybe 2 of them are saying, look, we need to make this rotation. But one of them is saying, look, I don't know about that. Like, I think we need to do this instead. Like, they have to try to keep their mental game on lockdown, right? Try to keep themselves in sync because that is going to get them the best possible progress and like outcome to them securing first place, right? I mean, even looking at not Weebu here, 50 points. Like if they popped off, like don't forget the victory royale is 15 points. That puts them up at 65 at lowest. If they had the most absolutely insane, the craziest elimination spree we've ever seen in the history of Fortnite. Totally possible, by the way.
Yeah.
Because we always say, it'll never happen. And then the weirdest thing and the most outlandish thing happens, like Zexro on 1 HP that pops off and gets the down instead. Like, these things can happen. And Flame is in the same spot. They're only 2 points behind the 50. And we know what they're capable of.
Yeah, you're speaking of outlandish. There's no builds kind of sneaking up on ramps on height as well. We have Alfrico, Namfu, Mev, and Dennis on the back doing the exact same thing, right? We talked about, you are moving on the map how you would normally move, but your mindset, your brain, that type of pressure is so different in the decisions you're going to be making going up. Now, we've talked about win conditions a lot as well as we're casting these games, but right now you mentioned power and, the way they're kind of making decisions as they go through, the indecisiveness they could probably have moving around mid-game. They kind of have a lose condition, right? If they get too goofy with it. Because, it is a 30-point difference and a 30-point lead. They don't have any Elims secured super, or in the books yet. Flame going down in a mid-game fight. That is really bad. That's the person these guys play off of in the trio. Hopefully now, with him possibly being the IGL, the person calling, being knocked out, being, the spectator in your trio, at the same time can offer you as a coach position, counting mats, et cetera, et cetera. Hopefully that will prove good enough as we see QND go, and every single person on his team looks like they have a total collective HP under 50 actually. Holy moly.
So low right now. You can see them HS Man there, Nijbi as well. They're fighting against Weebu, who has on 200 by the way. So he could basically double pump both of these guys in one fell swoop right now. Look at the loadout, though. He's got one is already gone. NJBY is down. H-Man is probably very close to follow. If he's safe right now, he's got to be really thinking about how he can try and reconnect with QNDX, right? Like, anyone sneezes wrong in his direction, he will be dropped. 4 HP. 4 HP. It's okay. Got to take the time to farm. Hey, maybe there is a med kit. There is 4 loot still available. Die Pancake gets picked up. That is going to be a great siphon that is going to come through. And you saw him pick up the shockwave grenade as well. So he can even say, look, I'm just going to join you. Like, let's just go for it, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, I think H-Man is in Happy Hamlet right now, which is an even harder position to be in to move towards the zone. So I think he's going to be moving back closer on the side of the rest of the lobby, or the rest of the trios in the lobby on the top right, moving towards the left side towards the zone. The big thing at the moment, though, is H-Man has very minimal mats. He wants to reconnect. We do have about almost 1,000 on his duo or trio partner, them just being a duo now since one of their teammates has been eliminated.
Right.
But 4 HP, as you said, Zeke, a bad sneeze is the end of a lot of potential. These guys have 5 inventory slots, an entire new HP bar to preserve as well. when you're alive with your trio, and all the mats available as well that you can split and move with together. Having an option of being dual partners playing together at the end game is so much better than being a solo player.
Yeah, for sure. It just kind of, I mean, like you think about it, right? If you're by yourself, there's just so much more pressure on your shoulders. At least between them, they can try and just say, we'll keep ourselves calm, we'll keep ourselves on a certain level. Shockwave gonna come out, the rotation goes in.
Yep.
H-Man again, don't forget, he's got 4 HP. Something goes horribly wrong. A sting grenade gets popped in his direction, he will go down. The 50 shield will not matter at all. He's trying to find anything possible. The way he's just navigating, he's like, look, if I can just find a single person and drop them, that siphon is gonna make the difference.
Yeah,
back overall build too.
He's on a complete endless loop as well, because to counter stinks, you need to be mobile, but the more mobile you are, the more you're seen, and then the more you're seen, the more chance there is for a shot. So you want to build up again, but then you can get stinked. So he's in an endless loop at the moment, even staying on a shield bubble. On one side of it, you have an enemy build. You're never sure if someone's going to edit from there. Is someone wearing a bush? Is someone hiding on an off angle? So it's very scary to have low HP, especially in a lobby where there's so many people hungry to get up in leaderboard placements, as this is the last game to crown the final winners of the Middle East region.
And that might well be this power trio: Fahad, Yonks, and NM7. 83 points, leading by one of the biggest leads we've seen so far. And again, this is it. This is the final opportunity. Someone needs to try and contest them, but the margin is quite, it's huge.
I mean, there's still a big possibility. It doesn't look like they have shockwaves. I was about to say they have no elims, but Hunter goes down, the bait and switch comes in, Prime is down too, Sam goes down, and these guys might have just secured their top spot, because previously, no points gained, placement wasn't even a question, low HP with just a launch pad to rotate, that's bad news, that's bad business. But now, the money came in, the checks were cashed, business is booming, these guys have a big chance to just hold their top spot at the top of the leaderboards.
And think about this is like after their like really shambles start in Gotham, right? They only had the launch pad, a few splashes. They had basically nothing. Then they shut down the Sam trio, right? That was Sundown's pick for the region as being the region season champions. And now they're in a much better position. Look at the HP right now, right? Almost 100 over here on NM7. Yonks, the same case. Fahad is almost 200. And now they have more weapons to work with. They even picked up the gold tack as well. They have more mats that came from the Sam trio.
Yep.
Like there's just so many more things that open up for them.
Yep, and the biggest thing now is a decision you don't usually see. When you have people with more HP than everyone else, now it looks like they're going to be evening out. But there are chances where you can go all in into that one person who has the biggest health pool, because they have the most options available. So giving him the shockwaves, giving him the minis, possibilities, to stay alive towards that end game, it's a sacrificial play some trios make. But these guys also have the option of not doing that entirely. They're 30 points ahead of the competition, Zeke, right?
Yeah.
They have, once again, we could see some really unique and cool plays come out from this trio, since they have the room to operate on a different pressure field compared to the competition.
And again, like they have the most pressure on them. All eyes are on them. And with a shamble start, they still put the pieces together, and they had a slow, methodical approach, and they shut down the Sam trio. And so they're still showing, like, even under this like monumentous pressure, they still have it on lockdown. They're not making missteps. They're not making mixed plays. They're minimizing, again, that RNG factor.
Yep.
Squashing that down as small as you possibly can and taking control over your destiny as much as you possibly can. Look at all this loot out there. That's a bait. I'm telling you, someone jumps in, tries to go for an 85, and another 85. This player's on nothing.
Mat blocks. Oh my God. NM7 going completely tactical, shooting and not even re-editing, but blocking the enemy from actually escaping, because he knows on zone line you want to move. Right now, everything this power trio does is for the personal record books. It's mostly for style because they're so ahead of everyone else, but once again, you do default into that end game survivability aspect. Fahad's going to be split up and then join back with NM7 towards these end game rotating circles. They're going to be on the mid ground there. They do have one shockwave to use. We're going to see how Yonks will utilize that. He's going to be the point man for this trio.
And we saw him build up the tunnel out first, right? They met up with Yonks. So he'd already established himself a position, said, all right, lobby, we're about to hit end game. Let's do this. And now that they're reconnected, they have this single shock. They have all the ammo. Now, the builds are extremely low. 9 builds. But depending on the situation, it may not matter, right? If people are editing and they're positioned correctly, it won't matter. They're going to find someone, they're going to catch them off guard with their backs to Storm Wall, and they'll get the loot from them. The question is, where is everyone else relative? We are top 12. We see Fiesel in the leaderboard. He goes down. That must mean that Klops and potentially Kappa are the only 2 members. It could even be one of them. Weebu, we saw him. He goes down in the leaderboard. So there's a possibility a lot of these trios are going to miss out on these crucial placement points.
Yep, panic sets in, but then things get relaxed as the shockwave comes through. The height is not taken, but big shots all. 120 shield damage by Yonks. Ziad goes down the zone. Did you see that, Zeke? Easy shots coming in. It's very nice for him to get that Siphon 2. Shield goes up, health goes up. NM7 goes down, is now eliminated. FHD is now on the bottom side as well as complete splits. The tack shotgun too strong though. Klops goes down. The top trio in the heats is not here anymore. Yonks finally getting his run ended. It's all on Fahad's shoulders. 2 elims for him. 5 elims for them in total. It can only go higher. 7 trios left alive. They need to go down for placement. Fahad now on the low ground. Wood builds available. 200 left. The minigun spray can come through too. The TAC SMGs are available. He has a lot of ammo. A natural loadout. It's all about him and his brain. No shockwaves to help you. No launch pads to get the height. It's just him in wood. Traps are there though. He has a little bit of utility, but a lot of it is natural game style that he's built over all these heats, all these qualifiers. Spots in. He takes the raw peak too. Nothing can stop Fahad when he sets his mind on a peak. He gets the shot.